Hi and welcome to another battle report. This is 2500 points between my two friends, Simon and Marcus. To start with Simon's Empire deployment, he have a great cannon in the left corner. Then I have 25 great swords with full command. In that unit he have a captain and a warrior priest. Then he have a hellbuster with a engineer behind it. Then he have 40 halberdiers with a captain and his general, the arch-lector in it, and also his level 3 of beast with curse, wild form and pelt. Then 40 more halberdiers with his BSP, razor standard, and another warrior priest. Then 10 handgunners, then 50 swordsmen, and finally a cannon. So for my friend Marcus' Dwarfs list, he have behind that ruin, he have a flying refrigerator, which work out as a gyrocopter this game. Then he have some iron breakers with a runesmith and a Fane general in it. Then he have a cannon with Rune of Fortune, and he have 30-ish warriors with great weapon. Then he have a grudge thrower and 40-ish warriors with shields. And in that unit you have a BSP who is stubborn and have the protection managers give 5 up ward for everybody within 12 inches against shooting and magic, and a runesmith in that unit. And then I have a organ gun, and then 16-ish thunders with shields. So Empire's first turn, he pushes up everything. His handgunner and hellbuster was out of range, so they pushes up too. Well, in Simon's magic, he get off wild form on his halberdier unit. They get some protection from shooting. And in the shooting phase, he actually misfired with both his cannon, so they didn't manage to do anything. While Dwarf have a mighty movement phase, where he didn't move anything at all. The important thing is that his Scourger kills some of the halberdiers, and his cannon kills his hellbuster volley gun. His thunders and organ gun kill some swordsmen. Well, Simon's turn, number 2, goes pretty swift. He pushes everything forward. Didn't do anything in magic, and his cannon couldn't fire, so over to Marcus, turn 2. Well, another mighty movement in the dwarf phase. He take his flying refrigerator and move it towards Simon's cannon. Well, Simon survived Marcus' first shooting round without much of casualties. As you can see, the most casualties has been taken by the swordsman furthest away in this picture, but nothing more happened. Well, Empire's and Simon's turn number 3. First, he starts by taking his swordman into the organ gun, which is a great move because he makes it impossible for the thunders to get into the flank of the swordman. Then he takes his first block of warriors into his warriors with helmet and shield. Then he takes his other block of halberdiers into his other block of warriors with great weapon, and his great sword into his iron breakers. Well, the magic didn't go so well for the Empire. He did manage to get off a 5 up ward on this greatsword, but nothing else. So in the shooting phase, his cannon takes aim at the flying refrigerator and rolled the only thing he can't roll. He rolled a 10, so he overshot. The other cannon undershot and didn't hit the gyrocopter. So well, this is after combat. As you can see, not a lot of things have happened. The dwarf line held because he has stubborn iron breakers, the great weapon warriors are steadfast, his BSB unit next to cannon is stubborn, and his organ gun is also stubborn. So, well, they take some casualties, both of them, but they pretty much sticks. The flying refrigerator charges the cannon for the dwarf. Turn number 3. And well, most things are in combat, so we skip directly to that. The iron breakers and the great sword just stick around and beat each other. His great weapon warrior actually managed to break his halberdier unit, which was a little bit unexpected. His stubborn warriors are taking a lot of beatings from his halberdiers in the middle because he had the razor standard, which is a interesting combination. But they are stubborn, and the thunderers charge his swordmen, and they all stick around. This picture just showing that the refrigerator takes out the cannon, and the engineer doesn't panic. So for Simon's turn number 4. His handgunners wheel to take shot at his great weapon warrior. He's hiding his wizard from Marcus' cannon, and he managed to get off the curse on the warriors with hand weapon and shield. And well, everybody sticks around. Not a lot of things happened. So for Marcus, turn number 4, he's wheeling his great weapon warrior to face Simon's center units. Well, the refrigerator flies over Simon's engineer, who has moved out of line of sight last turn, and opens his door and drops a lot of bad food on the engineer, so the engineer dies. Well, the iron breaker and the greatsword just sticks around, not doing a lot of damage to each other, so nothing happened there. Well, for the combat in the middle, you can see he have lost a lot of dwarf, but in this turn Marcus actually managed to kill off Simon's BSB, so now they don't have armor piercing anymore, and the organ gun and the warrior just sticks around and fighting each other without doing much of harm to anyone. Well, in Simon's turn number 5, since almost everything is locked in combat, can't do much. He gets off the curse on the iron breaker, and his one living cannon undershot at trying to fire out the grudge thrower in this picture. In the combat in the middle, every single dwarf warrior is dead, so I only have a runesmith and his BSB left. And in the other combat, they just having a big pillow fight doing nothing. In Marcus' turn 5, he moved his flying refrigerator closer to trying to get his wizard, and he marches his great weapon warrior closer to the central fight. Well, the greatsword and the iron breaker can't harm each other, so they just stick around. The organ gun, the thunderers, and the swordsman can't harm each other, so they also stick around. In the central combat, he managed to kill his BSB, but the runesmith sticks, and he mobilized, so we have his halberdiers facing the great weapon warrior next turn. Well, Simon, for his final turn, doesn't have a lot of movement. He first run away with his wizard to try to get out of further away from the flying refrigerator. Gets off no magic, and his cannon tried to fire out the refrigerator, but he misses. The handgunner managed with a little bit of luck to do 2 wounds to the flying refrigerator in the shooting phase, and in the combat phase he didn't manage to kill off the runesmith. Well, this combat is boring as hell. But at least this turn he managed to do a wound on the captain, but they all stick around. So for Dwarf turn, he first charges his Great Goblin Warrior into the Halberdier unit for a final fight, and the Flying Refrigerator charges his Wizard, and terrified by the sight of the Refrigerator, the Wizard chooses to run for it, and it's a fail charge by the Refrigerator. The Swordsman managed to break the Thunders in combat, but since the organ gun is stubborn, it sticks, so it doesn't matter in the end because they didn't have a banner on them. Well, nothing happened in this combat either. And it all ends with his warrior breaking the halberdier and run them down. So that's it for this game. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.